Solo Leveling Season 2, Episode 1. You aren't E rank, are you? The quiet hum of Jinwoo's room was filled with the faint rhythm of his own breathing. His body, though brimming with newfound power, was weighed down by exhaustion. The job change quest had pushed him to his absolute limit, forcing him to walk that razor-thin line between life and death. Now, all he wanted was a moment of rest. But reality had other plans. His phone buzzed against the nightstand, sharp and insistent. He barely cracked an eye open, only to see Gina's name flashing across the screen. With a weary sigh, he answered, Oppa, did you forget? Parent-teacher meeting today. Jinwoo's mind scrambled. The thought of sitting in a classroom among ordinary parents after everything he had been through felt almost absurd. And yet, when it came to Jinah, there was no choice. He pushed himself upright, rubbing the fatigue from his eyes. Yeah, I'll be there. By the time he arrived at Jinah's school, the air itself seemed to change. Students passing through the hallways fell silent, eyes widening at the man walking beside Jinah. Gone was the sickly, frail figure they remembered. What walked through those corridors was someone else entirely, broad-shouldered, sharp-eyed, with an aura so commanding it drew attention without effort. Jinah blinked up at him, disbelief painting her face. Oppa, you? What happened to you? You look like a completely different person. Jinwoo chuckled softly, reaching over to pinch her cheek. I just cleaned up a little. Don't tease me too much. But Jinna wasn't the only one noticing. Groups of girls whispered to one another, some giggling, others outright staring as though he were an idol who had stepped onto the school grounds. Gina groaned, hiding her face in her hands. Great, now they'll all think you're my boyfriend or something. Inside the teacher's office, the mood was more serious. Jinah's homeroom teacher praised her grades and behavior, but then leaned forward with a solemn look. Mr. Sung, if Jinah awakens as a hunter, what then? The question hit the room like a stone dropping into still water. For a long moment, Jinwoo said nothing, his eyes, calm yet heavy with a quiet storm, fixed on the teacher. She won't. Even if she does, I won't allow her to live that life, not after what I've seen. The words carried a finality that left the teacher silent. Jinwoo's tone wasn't just protective, it was absolute, like a man who had looked into the abyss and returned scarred. But then came another matter. Another student, Han Song-yi, Gina's classmate and an awakened hunter herself, was considering leaving school to pursue the path of a hunter full-time. The teacher asked Jinwoo to speak with her, perhaps to guide her away from a dangerous life. Jinwoo agreed. But deep down, he knew the truth. Words wouldn't be enough. Only the cruel reality of the hunter's world could shake a person's stubborn dreams. Later, Jinwoo met Song-yi near the school gates. As her face brightened in recognition, You're Gina's brother? No wonder. I should have guessed. She laughed lightly, but her eyes carried the steel of determination. You can talk all you want, but I'm not quitting. This is my path. Jinwoo studied her quietly. She reminded him of himself once, someone weak, standing at the edge of a vast, merciless world. After a moment, he only nodded. Then come with me, see for yourself what it really means to be a hunter. Meanwhile, far away at the airport, Hwang Dong-soo set foot on Korean soil. His presence alone was suffocating, a beast in human skin. Woo Jin-chul of the Hunter Association met him with polite restraint, though he could sense the killing intent radiating from the man. Dong-soo smirked. Don't worry. I'm not here to enjoy Korea. I'm here for two people, Sung Jinwoo and Yoo Jin-ho. I'll kill the E rank first, then move on to the D rank. The words dripped with malice. Jin-chul's jaw tightened, but he held his composure. If you plan to cause trouble here, you'll have to deal with me first. Dong-soo's grin widened. We'll see. At the White Tiger Guild's training grounds, Jinwoo arrived with Song-yi. The dungeon they were to enter was only a C-rank gate, meant to train rookies. Yet even here, tension simmered. Among the assembled hunters was Kim Chul, an A-rank tanker, towering with arrogance. His eyes narrowed when he spotted Jinwoo and Song-yi, as had both registered as E ranks. Why are they here? Dead weight will only slow us down. Jinwoo met his glare without flinching. He wasn't here to impress anyone. He was here for Song-yi to learn. Still, inwardly, he wondered if this raid might be too easy to make a real impression. The gate shimmered before them. One by one, the hunters stepped inside, their breaths visible in the cold air as they crossed the threshold. But the moment Jinwoo stepped through, his instinct screamed. The air twisted, the light bent, and then the world changed. The dull cavern was ripped away, replaced by a snow covered wilderness bathed in a red, haunting glow. A deathly stillness fell over the group. The gate behind them was gone, sealed shut. Kim Chul cursed under his breath. Red gate. Song Yi turned to Jinwoo, confusion on her face. What's a red gate? Jinwoo's expression hardened. It means we can't leave. Not until the boss is dead, and no one outside can reach us. Before the weight of his words could sink in, death struck. An arrow of ice whistled through the air, slamming into a hunter's face. The man collapsed instantly, lifeless. Gasps tore through the group. Another arrow flew, straight at Song Yi. Her scream was cut short as Jinwoo's hand shot up, catching the arrow midair. The ice splintered against his grip, harmless. His eyes, dark and furious, narrowed toward the tree line. Two figures emerged. Ice elves, their cruel laughter echoing in the cold. They had aimed deliberately for the weakest, as if savoring the kill. With mocking gestures, they melted back into the forest, leaving only silence and dread in their wake. Song Yi clung to Jinwoo, trembling. What were they? Ice elves, he answered, voice low. Hunters call them ice slayers, and now they found us. The group stood frozen, hearts pounding. Fear gripped them, but for Jinwoo, it was something else. A rising storm within. He snapped the arrow in his hand, the sharp crack of ice echoing through the snow. His gaze hardened. This was no training raid. This was war. The silence after the Ice Elves' attack was suffocating. Snow crunched beneath hesitant boots as the hunters huddled closer together. Fear clung to them like frost. For most, this was their first time inside a red gate, a place whispered of with dread, where the only law was survival. Kim Chul's voice cut through the fear, cold and commanding. We can't afford dead weight. The stronger will move with me. The rest, survive however you can. His eyes lingered on Jinwoo and Song Yi as though they were already corpses. He didn't even allow Go Myung-won, a trembling C-rank rookie, to follow him, but Park Hee-jin, a sharp-eyed B-rank, stepped forward. I'll go with them, she said, nodding toward Jinwoo's group. Kim Chul raised a brow. Suit yourself. If you want to babysit them, that's your choice. The group split, two paths carved into the snow. The stronger vanished into the distance, while Jinwoo led the weaker into the forest. Song Yi walked beside him, her breath trembling. Oppa, are we really going to survive this? Jinwoo didn't look at her. His gaze was fixed forward, calm yet unyielding. Stay behind me. Don't ask questions. Just trust me. Not long after, Park Hee-jin stopped, crouching near the snow. She pointed to the deep claw marks gouged into the bark of a tree. Ice bears. If they're here, we should turn back. But Jinwoo shook his head. Better ice bears than ice elves. Bears are strong but not cunning. Elves hunt for sport. His matter-of-fact tone silenced her. He spoke not like an E-rank, but like a seasoned warrior. The cold deepened, gnawing at the hunter's bones. Without a word, Jinwoo reached into his inventory and pulled out thick, fur-lined coats. He handed them out one by one, their warmth shocking against frozen skin. Heejin stared, stunned. Subspace magic? Just who are you? Jinwoo's eyes flicked to her, steady and unreadable. I said no questions. Wear it or freeze. For Song Yi, the gesture was enough. Her trembling eased as she clutched the coat tightly, silently vowing to follow him. But then the forest growled. An ice bear emerged, massive and white as death, its breath steaming in the cold air. The hunters panicked, backing away in terror. But Jinwoo simply stepped forward. Stay back, he ordered, his voice carrying weight. He switched his title, Wolf Assassin, feeling the surge of power course through him. Then he charged. The bear's roar split the air as its claws descended. Jinwoo slipped under the strike, his movements fluid, almost inhuman. With a single blow, his blade carved through thick fur and muscle. Blood sprayed across the snow, hot against the icy air. The others could only watch, mouths agape, as the creature that could crush them all was brought down like prey. Song Yi whispered, trembling not from cold but awe. You aren't E-rank, are you? Jinwoo said nothing. He only pulled his blade free and pressed forward, as if killing the beast had been no more than swatting a fly. Beyond the trees, the slaughter continued. Packs of ice bears fell before him, each kill feeding the quiet storm within. But even Jinwoo wasn't without limits. His shadow soldiers, summoned to assist, drained his mana rapidly. He pushed them forward anyway, watching as they clashed against the beasts. When the pack leader appeared, a monstrous bear larger than a house, his shadows crumbled beneath its strength. Even iron, his towering knight, was crushed beneath a swipe of its claws. For a heartbeat, Jinwoo stood alone. But then, his greatest soldier emerged, Egris the Blood Red. Silent, regal, with eyes burning like embers. The ice bear lunged, and Egris met it with a single decisive strike. His blade sang through the air, carving the beast apart in a shower of blood and snow. The hunters gasped, some stumbling back, others clutching their weapons tighter. This wasn't an E rank. This was something else entirely. Jinwoo watched the battle end, chest rising and falling. A quiet thought stirred within him. If Igris had fought me with his sword back then, I would have lost. And yet, here he was, the master of such a warrior. The thought sent a shiver down his spine, not of fear, but of awe. Outside the gate, the White Tiger Guild headquarters was in chaos. Baek Yunho, the guildmaster, stood grim-faced as he received word of the Red Gate. Kim Chul went in with a full strike team and an E-rank named Sung Jinwoo. At the mention of that name, his eyes narrowed. He remembered the boy, the one who had seemed ordinary, yet whose presence had lingered. Wu Jinchul added quietly, "It's possible." He reawakened. Bag's gaze flickered with interest, but before he could reply, another voice cut in. "Jinwoo? Huh? That bastard won't last a day." It was Huang Dongsu, leaning casually against the wall, his smirk dripping venom. His aura was suffocating, enough to make lesser hunters falter. But Baek only glared, silent fury simmering. Jinchul stepped forward, calm but firm. "You can't interfere. A red gate is closed to everyone outside. If Sung Jinwoo lives or dies, it will be by his own strength." Dongsu laughed, sharp and cruel. "Then let's see how long your little E-rank lasts." Inside the gate, the contrast between groups had reached its breaking point. Jinwoo's group, against all odds, had survived, shielded by his impossible strength. But Kim Chul's group, the so-called elites, were drowning in blood. The snow was painted crimson. Hunters screamed as arrows rained down from the trees. Ice elves, dozens of them, moved with deadly precision. They weren't beasts. They were killers. Kim Chul roared, his axe cleaving through one, then another. But for each he struck down, three more appeared. His shield splintered, his comrades fell one by one. A B-rank hunter stumbled to his knees, eyes wide with terror. "Sea Captain, help me!" An arrow silenced him, piercing through his skull. His body collapsed at Kim Chul's feet. "Damn it!" Kim Chul's voice cracked with panic as he swung wildly, blood spraying from his own wounds. All around him, laughter echoed. The cruel, mocking laughter of elves who killed not for survival, but for pleasure. Through the haze of panic, Kim Chul saw him, their leader. A towering figure astride a white horse, eyes glowing with predatory light, watching calmly as his people massacred the hunters. For the first time, Kim Chul's arrogance shattered. He wasn't the predator here. He was prey. Bloodied, broken, he turned and ran. His comrades' screams chased him through the snow. Behind him, the elves' cruel laughter rose higher, echoing through the frozen forest like a funeral dirge. Jinwoo, standing before the slain ice bear, felt the ripple in the air, a shift in the balance of the dungeon. Somewhere out there, Kim Chul's group was falling apart. He tightened his grip on his blade. His expression, calm yet unyielding, was shadowed by something darker. This was no longer about teaching Songyi a lesson. This was survival. And in the heart of the Red Gate, survival belonged only to the strongest.